Hello, friends. This is Confessions with Amy, and I'm glad you're visiting my channel. Here we share new confessions every day.
I was 19, sunburned, and laughing. It was the first real vacation Mom and I had taken in years. We were in Tybee Island, just outside Savannah. A cheap beach motel, peeling paint, and plastic lounge chairs, but to us, it was paradise. I still remember the way the sunlight hit the water, golden and soft, the way the waves sounded like they were whispering peace. I was lying on a towel, half asleep, when my phone rang. Dad. We hadn't spoken much since the divorce. He'd always been the kind of man who wanted to be a provider, but never quite got the hang of it. Chased dreams. Made promises. Lived paycheck to paycheck and called it just a rough patch. Still, I answered. Hey, Dad. There was a pause. The kind that doesn't come from a bad connection, it comes from guilt. Hey, June. Listen. My stomach clenched. He never said, listen, unless he was about to ruin something. I wanted to tell you myself. I paid off all my debts. Credit cards, the house, the car, clean slate. I sat up. Wait, you did? Yeah, he said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. I used your college fund. I didn't understand. I blinked, felt the sun grow cold somehow. My what? The fund. The one I'd set up when you were little. It was just sitting there, and I was drowning, June. I had no choice. But now, I'm free. I can breathe again. And we can figure out your college later. I didn't say anything. Not for a long time. He said my name again, then a third time. And finally I said, okay. That's all. Just that. Okay. And I hung up. Mom knew something was wrong. She didn't press, not then. She just handed me her lemonade and sat next to me until the tide came up high enough to soak the edge of my towel. That night, I lay awake staring at the cracked ceiling, wondering if a person could run out of tears without even crying. I wasn't angry yet. Just hollow. All those years he'd told me, I'm doing this for you. Every dollar he put away, supposedly for me. He had chosen himself. Over and over. So I made my own choice. I blocked his number. I told Mom I'd figure it out on my own. And I went to sleep with a quiet, cold clarity. Whatever future I had now, it was mine alone. And I would build it from scratch. It hit me 2 days later. Not all at once, more like a slow, suffocating realization that uncurled in my chest like smoke. I woke up early, before Mom. The motel air conditioner had rattled all night, and I felt sticky, raw. I slipped outside barefoot and sat on the cheap metal stairs, watching the sky turn from pink to blue. And that's when it landed. I wasn't going to college. Not because I didn't try. Not because I failed a test or missed a deadline. Because someone I trusted had made a decision for me. Like I was a line on a spreadsheet. A fallback plan. It was like a sunburn you don't notice right away, and then you touch it, and suddenly everything hurts. Dad used to call me his little storm. He said I was smart and sharp, with a temper that could shake walls. But he also said I'd thank him one day. For everything. It made me sick to think of it. You don't take someone's future and call it sacrifice. You don't steal from your child and call it love. When I got back inside, Mom was awake, making coffee with the little machine in the corner. She looked up and saw my face. I hadn't said a word, but she knew. What did he do, Junie? She asked softly. I told her. The whole thing. And to her credit, she didn't scream or cry or call him a bastard. She just nodded. Then she walked over, wrapped her arms around me, and whispered. Then we start over. On your terms. I don't know what I expected, maybe a plan, maybe outrage. But instead, she just made toast, turned on the tiny TV, and sat with me in silence. That was the first moment I felt power come back into my body. Not a lot. Just enough. We got home 2 days later. Small town. Lexington, North Carolina. The kind of place where people know your last name and still ask how your father's doing even if he walked out 5 years ago. I got a job the next morning at a diner off Route 64. I lied and said I was 20. They didn't care. I worked breakfast shifts, then lunch, then closed at night. I smiled at everyone, and inside I wanted to scream. Because I knew that while other girls were moving into dorms and decorating their walls with fairy lights, I was serving burnt hash browns and watching my dreams circle a drain. But I also knew one thing. I was never going to owe anyone anything again. Not a favor. Not a dollar. Not even forgiveness. Especially not forgiveness. There's something no one tells you about starting from zero. You don't just wake up one day and become strong. You claw your way into it, inch by inch, paycheck by paycheck, lie by necessary lie. At the diner, I was June from the other side of the highway. Just a quiet girl with a messy bun and sharp reflexes. They didn't know that every tip I pocketed was survival. Every dollar had a destination, tuition, bus fare, rent for a shoebox apartment I didn't even have yet. I worked like I was on fire. Because I was. 3 months in, a man left his business card on the table with a $20 tip. Black suit. Clean hands. Hard eyes. He said, "You've got hustle. You ever think about working front desk? Offices pay more than hash browns." I didn't trust him. But I also didn't throw the card away. That night, after I'd scraped syrup off my shoes and peeled off my apron, I Googled his name. Cameron Reese. He owned a third-rate investment firm in Greensboro. Small team. Mediocre reviews. But legit. I called. Interviewed. Got the job. Receptionist. $14 an hour. Free coffee. No more grease burns. That job was where I found my spark. Not in the phones or the filing cabinets. But in the way people looked past me. See, when people think you're nobody, they get comfortable. They talk around you. In front of you. About you. And I listened. I learned what liquidity meant, how clients panic when the stock market sneezes, and what really happens when a rich man goes broke. And most of all, I learned how money moves. At night, I took free online classes from an old laptop with a cracked hinge. I fell asleep on spreadsheets. Woke up with formulas in my head. No one knew what I was doing. I didn't post about it. Didn't tell mom. Didn't unblock my father. This was mine. Built not from charity, but rage. Not from trust, but will. It was the first time I felt dangerous. By the end of the first year, I wasn't just answering phones. I was fixing reports, catching typos in investor decks, suggesting numbers that actually worked. Cameron noticed. He asked if I wanted to learn more. I said, "Only if you pay me more." He laughed, and then he did. Not because he respected me. Because he knew I was useful. And that was fine. I didn't need anyone's respect. Just their access. People think revenge is about screaming. Breaking things. Burning bridges. But sometimes, it's just sitting in a quiet office. Wearing a clean blouse. Calculating compound interest. While the people who once dismissed you have no idea they're about to be outrun. The first time I saw 5 digits in my bank account, I stared at the screen for 10 whole minutes. It felt surreal. Like I had broken some rule no one told me existed. I didn't touch the money for a week. I needed to be sure it was real. No one had given it to me. I had earned every cent, late nights, 2 jobs, online classes, 3 years of people calling me just the receptionist. But now? Now I had a degree. Now I had certifications. Now I had clients who asked for me by name. Cameron promoted me to junior analyst with a raise and a new desk overlooking the street. I bought a new pair of shoes. Not expensive, just clean, solid, adult shoes. Then I moved into a one-bedroom apartment with thin walls and a lock that worked. And for the first time in my life, I didn't flinch every time the phone rang. I built myself like a skyscraper. Steel at the base, glass on the outside, secrets in the foundation. I said no to parties, no to dating, no to distractions. I was building an empire, and no one builds those by being nice all the time. Mom didn't always understand. She worried about how tired I looked. She said, "You're allowed to be soft, Junie. You don't have to be fire all the time." But she didn't know what it felt like to be used. To be robbed with a smile and a soft voice. To have your dreams sold off in exchange for someone else's peace. So no. I wasn't going to be soft. I was going to be sharp. Precise. Unshakable. 2 years later, I opened my own firm. Callaway Strategies. Just 5 people in a shared WeWork and a single espresso machine that barely worked. But we were fast. Ruthless. Smart. We took on clients the big firms ignored: immigrants, single mothers, ex-cons who started businesses with nothing but a borrowed truck and a prayer. We made them rich. And they never forgot it. Neither did I. I never talked about my father. Not to clients. Not in interviews. I never said his name again, even in my head. Until one day, I got a message request on LinkedIn. "Hi June. I saw your name on Forbes 30 Under 30. I always knew you'd make it. Could we maybe catch up sometime? I'd love to see you. Warren Callaway." My stomach twisted. Not because I missed him. Not because I hated him. Because I didn't feel anything at all. I didn't answer. I didn't block him either. I just let him sit there. Unread. Like he let my future sit, untouched, while he saved himself. I was 30 when I finally went back to Tybee Island. Not to reminisce. Not to heal. Just because I could. I booked the nicest suite on the coast. Ocean view, white sheets, a balcony that looked like something out of a music video. Mom came with me. She brought a book and a sun hat. I brought a bottle of champagne and no laptop. She kept saying how proud she was. How far we'd come. I just smiled. What I didn't say, what I couldn't say, was that I didn't feel proud. I felt done. Like I had climbed out of a hole so deep, the sky looked fake for a while. And now, standing under it, all I felt was stillness. The day I got the invitation, I was barefoot on the balcony. Morning light, coffee in hand, emails muted. It came in a cream envelope. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Warren Callaway requests the honor of your presence at his 60th birthday celebration. I almost laughed. There was a phone number at the bottom. His, I assumed. Mom read it over my shoulder. She said nothing. She didn't have to. I waited 3 days before I called. He picked up on the second ring. "June." His voice was thinner than I remembered. Weaker. Life had taken its toll. "You invited me," I said flatly. "I hoped you'd come," he said. "I wanted to tell you how proud I am. I see your name everywhere. You've really made something of yourself." I waited. He kept talking. Nervous now. I was stupid. I made mistakes. But I never stopped loving you. I think about you every day. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but if you could. I cut him off. "You're right. You don't." Silence. "I didn't become this person because of you," I said. "I became her in spite of you." I heard him exhale. Something between a sob and surrender. I just wanted one more chance, he whispered. You had your chance, I replied. You used it to save yourself. I used mine to build a life. Another pause. Then I said something I hadn't planned to say. I don't hate you, Warren. But I also don't need you. That's your legacy. I hung up. The ocean was quiet that night. I sat on the balcony with Mom, watching the tide pull back like it always does. She looked at me and said, "You feel lighter." I nodded. I hadn't gotten revenge. Hadn't screamed. Hadn't humiliated him. I just told the truth. He chose himself. And I chose freedom. That's what people don't understand. Forgiveness isn't something you owe. Sometimes letting go isn't mercy. It's closure. I built a life with my own hands. No apologies. No debt. No looking back. I am June Calloway. And I'm free.